Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. With me today is the Welsh. And, of course, it's you, the Peanuts, the Cracker Jacks, everybody hanging out, talking a little baseball. We've got a lot to get to, a lot of injury updates. We got a prospect call up. We're going to pick the brain of Mr. Prospect One, the Welsh, on in just a bit. Plus, the Angels continue to lose games no matter who's the manager and no matter what the music selections are. Welsh, it's great to see you again, my friend. How are you this fine afternoon?
I'm better than all the Angels, all the Angel fans, all of the company, the organization. Joe Madden's maybe doing a little bit better, maybe a little vindication in there. Like, hey, still picking up those losses, huh? When I'm out of here. By the way, I've been meaning to say this every single time. I have to hold myself back. When you open the show, I want to do the king of beepers. How you say it? Do you know that you say it just like? Do you remember that? Like, I'm
the king of beepers.
God,
I remember beepers.
Someone's gonna get this for me. It was the name. It was like da da da. I am the king of beepers, and I'm gonna type it in now. And so obviously you don't, but
I don't. I know there's only like a couple year age difference, and I do know
JJ.
And
that's
remember,
what it is. I am JJ, the king of beepers. It was like
what is this from?
It was a mid-90s Las Vegas guy who only sold beepers, and I guess it was probably. It was probably
like that
predominantly
grocery store that nobody I had never heard of, that everyone in the Midwest is like, what are you, crazy? Or it's like a Home Depot kind of place.
Yeah,
and
well,
I remember Tags lost his mind. And meanwhile, everybody in New York, New Jersey is like, I have no idea what Tags is talking about. You're right. But it turned out like everybody in the Midwest was like, yeah, of course. What do you mean? You don't realize these things. A lot of people apparently do know what Welsh is talking about. I do not.
You got to go to YouTube.
I knew a couple
go
people that were the
JJ
king of beepers back in the
You
day
got
in
to go
Jersey.
JJ Beepers. Go JJ Beepers. You will see it, and you'll get the King of Beepers commercial, and it will completely change your perception of how Joe opens the show.
Directly after the show now, I'm going to have to go check this out. We had the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody. That's what we had over in the New York, New Jersey area. So the Wiz sold a lot of the electronics. But let's see if we could sell you on some baseball here. Aaron Nola blanks the Brewers for 8 innings. Great start from him. Aaron Nola continues to look like the pitcher we always wanted him to be. And you're welcome, America. It's because I dropped him back into the pool in my keeper league this year. Alex Wood was terrific. 7 innings over the Rockies for him. Cronenworth, again, more signs of life. Drives in 5 runs against the Mets. Look, this was bound to happen. The Mets have been really good. They've got some injuries. They're missing some pitchers. This is going to be a stretch here for the Mets, which, by the way, guess where they're going to play this weekend? The Angels, ladies and gentlemen. The immovable object meets the I don't know, the Angels. I don't know what it.
Two interesting worlds collide here. Someone's got to break.
Yeah. I'm waiting. That was actually a great opportunity for you to do one of your Welshisms where you take 2 different
fake a word, create a new word.
Yeah, you create a brand new phrase. So see if you can work on that when we come back here.
It's natural. Listen, I can't push it. It's a natural thing that happens where the words just come out.
All right. Sean Manaea was very good in that game as well. The Blue Jays are going to promote, Gabriel, and they're going to create him in a laboratory. They're going to promote Gabriel Moreno to the big club, number 4 prospect of the Toronto Blue Jays. So, got any breakdown on the 22-year-old kid?
Yeah, I absolutely love him. He played out here in the Arizona Fall League this past year, and he had these shades. And I lightly say this because you don't want to start taking this as the comp, but he had these light early shades of when Vladimir Guerrero was out here. And what I mean by that was he did not get fooled. He didn't swing outside the zone. He only swung at his pitches, and he made tons of contact. Now, it got a little bit more wonky towards the back end where he was eating on some sliders, but this is a high contact guy. Kind of built, he's got a little tankishness in him, a little bit like he's kind of builds out. He's not going to build up. He's not a completely ripped type of guy, but he incredible vision at the plate. Awesome contact this year in the minors. He's hitting 324. The power isn't really showing up, but he's stealing a few bases, 380 OBP, and he's hit 300 in 3 of the last 4 minor league seasons dating back to 2018. The power just hasn't been like a huge part of his game. I think he would be a phenomenal number 2. It actually reminds me, it's like shades of Jason Kendall. Remember Jason Kendall, the prototypical number 2 hitter? Body and stuff isn't the right comp, but he's a type of hitter I think you can put in the 2 hole that would make a ton of sense. Get a lot of contact, make a lot of contact, just not going to hit for a bunch of power. So 2 catcher leagues, this is an absolute, no-brainer. You want to speculate on these moves. I'm not really sure what all we're going to see out of him in these debuts. I don't think a bunch of power, but it's going to hit. I would be shocked in his major league debut if he doesn't have he doesn't get his first major league hit. That'll be my call. First major league hit in game 1.
Somebody who's not giving up a lot of hits this year, Sandy Alcantara. 9 shutout innings on Wednesday. Probably could go for 10. He could probably go forever. He's just
unbelievable. Did you see all? Also,
did I see?
He had a 5.5 K prop, and he got it, I believe, in the 8th inning. Like, people were losing their mind going through, and he went a full 9 and then just got to 6. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, Alcantara, just for S's and G's here. 9 innings, 6 hits, 6 Ks, 105 pitches, 84 strikes. Max velo was 100.4. He's got a 0.56 ERA in his last 6 starts. Major league high 83 innings and 2/3. NL low 1.61 ERA. Jake Arrieta was the last pitcher with 6 straight starts of 7+ innings and earned runs or fewer of 0 there. So
84 strikes is I'm having a hard time fathoming that. 84 strikes and 105 pitches is a wild number. That guy is so ridiculous right now. He's one of those, there's only a couple guys that you just make your bet on. It's like you don't question where they start. DFS, take your props. You just trust in Sandy Alcantara. He will get you there. Put your faith in Sandy.
And the dude, Jake Arrieta, won the Cy Young that year. Just want to double check on
Look
that.
out for
So,
it, baby.
just putting that out there. When you get ahead of that, when you have that kind of a run, at the end of the year, your stats are going to be unbelievable. Let's do a little checkup. Oh, by the way, guess who's the new leader for National League Cy Young? Sandy Alcantara right now, plus 450 over on Betting Pros. So yesterday he was the number 2 at 650. After this start, he jumped
Still
from
good
650
numbers. Still good
to
numbers
450.
for
Still
him.
good numbers. Please,
Yeah.
everyone, jump on the 450. I'm telling you, this is going to be the rocket ship. Nestor Cortez, we jinxed it. It was fun while it lasted. Of course, your guy Buxton was the guy that really ruined it. He was actually really good for the first couple innings, and then things fell apart. Look, it happens sometimes. Cortez allowed a season high 4 runs after we said, look, we've been doing this forever. 19 straight outings of 3 runs or fewer. By the way, I also found this amazing stat, which I think is super important. Nestor Cortez, without a mustache from 2018 to 2020, the ERA was 6.72. With the mustache from 2021 to 2022, 2.35. So if that's not a guy who should have a Manscaped, some sort of, I don't know, where like a mustache cream endorsement, this is the dude. I mean, go get him right now.
These opportunities, they don't just fall in your lap that often. Did you see there's a shirt? I think it's RotoWear has a shirt of the, I don't remember. It's some takeoff of Super Mario, but it didn't occur to me. And it's Matt Carpenter with his mustache and Nestor Cortez of like Mario and Luigi. And I was like, my God, have there ever been 2 guys that they should actually do a movie. They should do a movie with those 2. It's uncanny. They don't cast actors as good as Matt Carpenter and Nestor Cortez would look as Mario and Luigi. And they're making a movie.
There you go. Mr. Buster said it all. Sandy Alcantara can have my children. There you go. Or future children. He doesn't want to give up his own kids. He wants to actually have more kids. He wants to reproduce. I believe that's what he's saying.
Sorry, the deal's already done, Mr. Buster. Your children are gone, not the future ones.
Your children are gone. That's it. We take your children away. All right, let's get to the injury update. A lot to get to. Tyler McGill, Tyler the Terrible, returns to the Mets rotation tomorrow night. Speaking of which, tomorrow night I will be seeing the AA Yankees play. So I'm going to give you some Twitter footage. I'm going to take some video of Anthony Volpe because my daughter and her class are singing the national anthem before the game. So that's
that's very, very. Anthony Volpe is a class act too. You should try to get some FaceTime with Anthony Volpe. Do it for me.
Yeah, gonna definitely have to do that. Mike Mayer, why don't you come join me at the ballpark? We'll have a beer together. Come on you. Starling Marte and Pete Alonso are going to avoid the IL, it looks like. So that's good news. But the bad news is you're probably not going to have them through the weekend. That would be my guess. So look, there's only so many things you could take away from a baseball team, and they're still going to be a good team. You can take away a pitcher. You can take away 2. You can take away Alonso. You take away Marte. It's too much. You're going to start going in the other direction. That's what's going to happen. Xander Bogaerts returned to the lineup last night. Kittredge, by the way, from Tampa is going to be headed for right elbow surgery, so no surprise there. Dodgers activate Max Muncy, so that's good news. And then Brandon Woodruff with the ankle issue is throwing off the mound today, so we'll keep an eye on that. Any of these injuries you want to hit on, Welsh?
Muncy, I don't know. I was a big defender of Max Muncy in the preseason. I'm not really sure how much is still there. I was paying attention. He 0 for 3 in rehab start. I mean, nothing else came from the rehab starts, by the way. They struggle in the season, they get hurt, maybe they come back, rake in the minors and the rehab and come back. None of that's happening. I'm very worried that Muncy might be washed, or Mancy, either one of them. That Mancy is the new version of Fancy the Bad Max Muncy. The Bad Max Muncy. I
used to read the Fancy Nancy books to my daughters. I remember Fancy Nancy, but Fancy Muncy. All right. So yes, this is true. I forgot. Mike Mayer is already spoken for. This is why I couldn't go. I was actually invited to go to the Phillies game with Mike Mayer and Blaine. But unfortunately, again, had the conflict. I had another baseball game to go to, so I forgot about that. So, and all of this like Team Mayer stuff.
Oh my God! By the way,
this going on?
This uprising of all you people that hate children and want bad things to happen, and you love Mike Mayer. I don't. This uprising is wild, Joe. Maybe we don't know the audience like we really thought we did. That there is a small group. There's a small group gathering, and that's never good.
All right. Other things that are not good right now. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Angels last night turned to Nickelback walk-up songs to end their losing skid, because whenever you're trying to break a streak, certainly Nickelback is the way to do it, I would imagine. But it didn't matter. The streak is now at 14. They lost 1-0. Mike Trout is still out with the groin injury. I do have the lineup of Nickelback songs along with the lineup that Ohtani came out to Photograph, Joe Adele to Rockstar, Jared Walsh to How You Remind Me. Matt Duffy to Someday, Juan Lagares, If Today Was Your Last Day, Brandon Marsh, When We Stand Together, Jack Mayfield, What Are You Waiting For, Kurt Suzuki This Afternoon, and Tyler Wade came out to Animals. So, Welsh, what would you suggest tonight or the weekend for the Angels to break the streak?
Yeah, no, I think I got this. But by the way, I can only mentally recite 2 of those songs, Rockstar and How You Remind Me Immediately. I did the
the photograph. Look at this photograph.
Oh, okay.
Every time I see you, make me laugh.
They're so stupid.
I told you, 90s guy track for any of those songs.
So I love this one. I think they should try this. I think it's a teammate that's doing this, but there is a young outfielder, Oscar Gonzalez, for the Guardians, who, by the way, big, like deep leagues. You should, if you haven't picked him up, you should consider. All the dude hits. He rakes, hit 300 in the minors, hitting 300 in the majors. Not a lot of crazy counting stats, but his walk-up song currently is the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song. So when he comes up, it's, oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea, and he comes up to bat. Maybe he picked it. Maybe a teammate picked it for him.
Wow.
I think they should maybe go with children's cartoons for that, because they're playing like kids. They're playing about the level of little Pee Wee baseball. So I think children's cartoons, little Rugrats, little SpongeBob in there. Do it. I like it.
I would go the route of, it's time to pull yourself together and get back together with your life and start to move on, which means there's only one person for that. It's Taylor Swift. Everybody has a Taylor Swift song. It's all about things are not going well. It's time to, pick yourself up and say, no, I'm going to live my best life. I don't care how many games I lose in a row. It's definitely Taylor Swift.
We need a vote. I wish we had a polling feature that we could say, what should the Angels do next?
Mayor, get a polling feature here on YouTube.
Yeah, TV theme songs or Taylor Swift?
No, it's Taylor Swift songs, 100%. Here's another fun tweet. A lot of people are saying that if the Red Sox were a West Coast team, that they'd have the best record in baseball, possibly even undefeated. Ha, ha, ha. But is it true to a certain extent? Like if you picked up the Red Sox and dropped them in on the West, that maybe they would be a little bit better considering how they've owned some of those West teams?
Yeah. It's an interesting statement Kravis said. I mean, that's kind of pretty open. Like if they're on the West Coast, they would be better.
Mark, look at Mark. They did break up with Joe Madden. They just went through a breakup. It's time for the Taylor Swift song. 100% right, Mark.
Okay, yeah, yours makes a lot. Okay, yours makes a lot. I'm associating.
You're trying to just break them mentally out.
Well, they're playing like kids.
I'm thinking emotionally.
Yeah. No, yours, and it also like she could be there. Like, doesn't she live there? Like, she could just probably go and sing the songs live.
In New York, actually.
Would that be? Could you do that? Could somebody sometime, like a Taylor Swift, could they hire and they live play every walk-up music for the home team? Would that be incredible? Like, how much would that cost?
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah,
that would be a lot. Yeah,
there you go. Wonky Penguins in here. Love Story is one of the best songs of all time. The Folklore album is tremendous. Nobody could tell me anything different. Sorry.
I don't know. But yeah, just the Red Sox. Sure, I guess I could buy that. There's always a narrative, though. There's always one of those. If this team were in the NL or on the West. Okay, yeah, maybe. Those teams don't see the Red Sox. They're getting beat up by the same division a whole lot, and then they come out and then they. I just think it's relative. If you're playing the Diamondbacks and Rockies, every other week, that's a good thing. So by that respect, okay, sure. That's why the Dodgers should obviously always be better, because you're playing just a couple crappy teams. But,
fair enough. The Orioles still. All right, let's talk about this too. A highest win probability added for the 2022 season. So this is a fun little MLB stat thing here. So the top 4 guys, number 1 is Manny Machado at plus 2.38. Aaron Judge is third with plus 231. Fourth is Mookie Betts with plus 229. Somebody is second with 2.32, and that somebody is Ty France, of all people. So I just wanted to take a pause here and talk about Ty France, who, look, there's a dude he's 27 years old. We know he's in the Padres system for a while. He finally got out of that system, and now look at him. I bet the Padres would love to have him back right now. God, the way they're needing some offense.
It's where I first saw him, too. Yeah, I remember watching him on the backfields of the Padres when Manny Machado hadn't reported to camp and playing third, and was like, this dude he's legit. He's absolutely legit.
He is legit. And he was just never given the opportunity. And if you look at what he's doing right now this year, hitting 327 with a 402 OBP, a 491 slugging, 893 OPS, 9 homers, 38 ribbies. I mean, that is elite Why are we not talking more about Ty France having this elite season? Because it seems like we're
Well,
doing a disservice to everybody else by not talking about it more.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, that one of my mantras in the preseason, ironically, this is one of those few things that, like, you get attached to, was he was the glue. I called him the glue. Ty France is the type of player you want on all your teams because he just doesn't really hurt you. Now, he's exponentially played better than that. I think maybe one of the reasons is, as good as he is, and you get like, I'm not really sure what this stat kind of reminds me of, like an offshoot of like WAR. Like, you're
Feels
talking
like a
about
war kind of stat.
Well, that's
but
what
I mean,
that's
highest
literally what I
win
just said.
probability added.
Like
So
WAR
like
is
if,
the value.
if that guy like is in the lineup, the win probability goes up by 2.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's substantial.
it's
Look,
like the
these
same.
are the MVPs: Machado, Betts, Judge, and then Ty France. But nobody's talking about Ty France as an MVP, but he's having an MVP caliber season. It's fascinating.
But the stats, but that's what I was trying to go with it, is I think the underlying stuff is really there for him. Like I said, whether it's, you look at WAR, you're like, oh, the value, but the stats are fine. As good of a season as he's having right now, if you were to go take the bat X, his in-season projection will be 21 homers, 88 RBI. And if I'm doing quick math, it looks like 76 runs, no stolen bases. That's good, but that's not phenomenal. That's not in the same camp as those other players. It's not Mookie Betts. That's not those same guys. So
I know, but that
Judge,
3-4-5 slash is elite. 3-4-5 slashes, there's like 4 or 5 guys a year that hit that over a whole season.
It plays, but it is not a fantasy elite thing. And we just run into this sometimes. These guys are so much better from a baseball perspective than from a fantasy perspective, but we should put some respect on Ty France for sure.
I also think that when you're looking at some of these players that get blocked in certain organizations that you like, don't give up on them. You hope that they get a second breath in another organization, because we've seen that work for some players, and Ty France is certainly one of them. My goodness. I mean, yeah. Mitch Haniger. I got to give Seattle a lot of credit, because now that you're kind of looking at it, right? You've got Haniger, Diamondbacks, right? Yep. You've got Ty France from San Diego. Wasn't JP Crawford in the Philly system, if memory serves?
JP Crawford's, well, yeah, he was a big Phillies guy.
The Seattle Mariners scouting on the major league level or the professional level is really good. I mean, they have looked at some of these teams and they have taken these pieces away. Oh, you don't want this guy? I'll take that guy. Think about that. Think about how good they've been. And you kind of need to be that, because it's hard to get free agents to Seattle. So you almost have to be the kind of team that's going to go out there and be able to say, you know what, this prospect's underrated, this prospect's undervalued, this prospect is blocked here. Let's go grab these guys and give them 162 game seasons to go play baseball. And most of them have responded. I mean, it's a pretty good model for Seattle.
They do it. I mean, also, they traded for Eugenio Suarez, and you look at a bunch of other guys in their free agency too, in spring training. I spent a lot of time at Peoria this year during spring training. They also, the free agents, they come in and work out. They had Billy Hamilton that was working out. They had brought back Mike Ford, if you remember him. This is their model, is they look at these guys that have underperformed and they say, can we fix them? They don't do it with pitching. They develop the pitching internally, but they say, can we fix these guys? And they do a pretty good job.
And they haven't all worked. I mean, look, Taylor Trammell, was in the Cincinnati system. He hasn't worked. That's
he's playing all right. I mean, Kelnick hasn't been a great trade either. So,
well, right, but that was like the earth-shattering move. Like, oh my God, we're gonna have 2 superstars, and then these other guys are gonna fill in. Ty France is playing like the superstar, and Kelnick's in AAA. Let's get to some other things here. Let's get to the trivia question of the day. Who was the last Dodger player to be named All-Star Game MVP? And yes, it's happened in the last 30 years. So the last Dodgers player to be named All-Star MVP, who was it? Drop the names in the chat. Again, you have to be a subscriber of Fantasy Pros MLB to be a Peanut and a Cracker Jack officially and be in the chat here. So if you've got one, make sure you drop the answer there. Also, maybe tomorrow, we'll save this for tomorrow, it feels like. I want to do a deep dive about some of the pitching prospects in the pipeline here. Each team, maybe you can give me a breakdown. I'll give you some extra time to prepare for that one. We'll do that tomorrow on the show, since we're running a little late today. Stat heroes, Alcantara at the top. Obviously, no earned runs, 6 Ks, 9 innings. Best pitcher in baseball right now. I mean, it's hard not to argue. Aaron Nola, 8 innings, no earned, 6 Ks. Merrill Kelly, 6 innings, no earned, 5 Ks for him. Alex Wood, 7, not scoreless, 1 earned run for him, no walks, 5 Ks. Tony Gonsolin continues to be very sharp, man. Where would the Dodgers be, Welsh, without Tony Gonsolin?
Yeah, dude. Well, him and the guy that's going today, Tyler Anderson, those two have absolutely carried this team. Tony Gonsolin, 7-0. It's
He's
freaking believable.
Is this a hot take? Tony Gonsolin's the best pitcher for the Dodgers?
I mean, it's a hot take, but statistically, you're backed up on it. You're back. I mean,
Takes
Julio
the ball
Arias
every
and
fifth day,
Walker
too.
Buehler are pretty brutal right now. Like their arrow is trending down where you've got these guys. But this is what winning teams do, though, is you can't just have your superstars prop you up at all times. Someone has to step up. Dodgers put themselves in a good situation. They have players that can step up. Tyler Anderson, Gonsolin, Edwin Rios was doing that. This is what winners do, man.
Some fun answers here in the chat. Jus Bob says Kershaw, no. Bizarrizajizza said Pedro Guerrero, no. No Adrian Gonzalez, no Sean Green, no Eric Gagne. It was Mike Piazza.
Wow, the pizza man.
Mike Piazza, the pizza man. That's who the answer was. So it's the last guy. Also, here's a fun one. Steven Strasburg coming back today. Look at that. Yeah. Very exciting. Dr. Glenn brings that up. Any thoughts, feelings, emotions about the return of Steven Strasburg?
I mean, but Boggs and I actually on the ITL show, we had a whole thing because he's so anti-Strasburg and the injuries, and there's something in him. It's a craw in him about it. I'm always kind of rooting for Strasburg. Never lived up to the potential. Just one of those guys we're going to go back on that just the wasted years of injuries.
He lived up to the potential, but in bursts. That's the problem. It was only
that's not.
I mean, he was.
But like having a season of it. Run. But having a season of it isn't living up to all of that potential. I actually still think he can put together a half decent season. He's sitting out there for free, but at the same time, like Corbin's completely fallen apart. I would have preemptively picked up Strasburg had he still been sitting out there. Tell you all to do that. Not try to start him. Let's see what you're truly in for. He could be washed, but I don't think it's ridiculous to think that there's still a couple years in there. And I think we set the over-under. Let me ask you, at 12.5 starts this year.
That's
and
exactly
I think
the number I had.
Yeah, I set the number. And I think there's call it 20 applicable starts. Let's say there's 20 potential starts you could have because you're already 11 or 12 in. And I said it 12.5 over under starts.
I'll go under.
You went under too. And I took over.
I mean, you're probably right, but man, yeah, and Strasburg, look, you're right. All the talent. I mean, from his bank account, he certainly has, lived up to his expectations. I mean, the dude's gotten paid, and he had a great run a couple years ago. He's got a World Series ring. He had the big contract. It's just unfortunate that it didn't work out for him. Wonky Penguin agrees with me, by the way.
I saw that showing under.
So she's a much
I feel like
baseball person.
Who's coming with me? Anybody going to take that out? Who's coming with me? Anybody going to come? Do I have one person who'll come with me?
And to be clear, we don't want Strasburg to fail. We're just used to it. We're used to him not being on the mound. It's frustrating. And we're talking about investments, and it's unfortunate. And the Nationals are unfortunate.
They just really the one thing I would point out. Thing I would point out when we're joking and you're like, oh, the under and Bizarrizik, as I said, the lat strain is coming. The one thing that happened with him, just to remind you, is they babied him. He even said he said this preseason, he would not come back until he was 100%. They weren't going to try to get him in the rotation when he's 85%. They've babied him through June. He's done rehab starts. For all intents and purposes, this is starting fresh. This is
another thoracic outlet syndrome, which has ended so many careers.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly anyone, in fact, almost no one has come back successfully and been the same pitcher after. It's just a fact. Go look it up. It's terrible. Yeah, and I wonder why it happens to pitchers. I want to know more. Like, where's the study on thoracic outlet syndrome in pitchers? Because that is a thing in the last 10 years we've seen destroy good Major League Baseball pitching careers, and we can't seem to figure out why these guys keep having it. Is it something the way that they're throwing? Is it something mechanical? Is it something that
also they can't recover
training
from
methods?
That'd be another thing.
It's
Tommy John. They've come in through with a recovery with that injury, and we haven't seen like a really proper way to recover from thoracic outlet. And it's kind of a pitcher death sentence at this point, way more than Tommy John. Tommy John's nothing. It's just like, all right, let's just get it done. And let's get back to it.
I would rather hear Tommy John than thoracic outlet syndrome in a dynasty league. 100%. 100%.
Agree.
It's not even close. Bryson Stott, your boy, 4 for 4 with a homer. Jake Cronenworth, 3 for 4 with a dinger. Josh Rojas went yard. Kyle Schwarber, look at him, 4 for 5, getting all the hits. Austin Riley, I think he's up to 19 home runs or something like that. Austin Riley's on fire. Adam Duvall hit a home run. Manny Margot, 4 for 5. Tyler O'Neill, 2 for 4 with a dinger. Randy Rosarena, 4 RBI, 3 for 5. Hope you listened to me a couple weeks ago. I told you to trade
15.
for him on the cheap. Just saying. All right, the stat zeros, Chris Bassett, 6 earned runs, not good last night. Nestor Cortez, not good. Jose Urquidy, 4 earned, not good. Packy Naughton. I heard that Packy Naughton was going to potentially run for office. Everybody loves Packy Naughton.
I think Packy's a new character in Peaky Blinders coming up in
England.
season 6, I think.
I like Packy Naughton. Is what I want you to do. I want you to take Steven Strasburg and Packy Naughton, and I want you to go up there and I want you to have a talk with him. All right. I want you to have a right talk with that tosser. All right. Hitters here. Jock Peterson, 0 for 4, 4Ks. Mitch Garver, 0 for 4, 4Ks. Freddie Freeman, 0 for 4, just 3Ks. Jazz Chisholm had a great night the other night, 3Ks, 0 for 4. He's just 2 for 23 over his last 6 games, but those 2 were home runs. What are you doing with Jazz Chisholm right now? Just like you're riding the waves of the up and downs?
I mean, if you were sitting here being like, oh my God, what do I do about Jazz? Buddies, this is what you were in for. This is the exact conversation. Jazz was the new era Javier Baez. You're going to have high highs. You're going to have low lows. This is what you get in for. Also, all that Mariners nonsense, there was just more stuff that was going on about it. Some players were saying it was nonsense. Some players, it needed to be done. Boy, it really feels like, I don't know if you heard any of the comments. They were kind of talking about somebody getting really like guys focused on stats. I don't want to put it on Jazz because I personally love Jazz. It feels very Jazz-ish right now. Like, a player that's focused on their stats a whole lot. And it was position players that were talking about it need to be said. Just throwing that out there that I don't know if there's any team against him. It's pure speculation. But this is what you have to be prepared for to weather the storm. You want to weather the storm? Go get Luis Ariz or something like that. You're not going to get your power and your speed, but you can get the batting average. But you should have prepared with a guy like Jazz. So you wait this out. This is not the time to make any trade or move or anything like that.
Willy Adames returns and goes 0 for 4 with 3Ks. Also, in a cruel twist of fate, yesterday was National Contreras Day here on the program. So if you picked a Contreras and that Contreras went yard, you got 2 points for the home run. You picked the wrong Contreras. The younger brother did go yard. What a cruel twist of fate.
I tried to push. I created National Contreras Day and I didn't, my guy got postponed. I did put a new guy in, but it didn't work out. So I'm still not on this dang board.
4 people called on the Contreras Day, by the way. No movement in the top of the board, as you can see. And now it says Mike Mayer and 3 others. Ha ha ha. Look at him. It's pretty soon he'll be off the board. I get 2 home runs tonight. Next thing you know, you don't see Mike Mayer's face again on this board. You never know. All those Team Mayer people. Oh, those precious Team Mayer people. They can't compete with the king of sports books. Right now, BetMGM, bet $10, win $200 on any game, regardless of the outcome. Sign up today and download the BetMGM app or go to BetMGM.com. Enter the promo code leading off. One word, leading off. Enter it. Have some fun. Make some wagers. Bet responsibly with us. Today, Ronald Acuna, total bases on DK, 1.5, minus 105. Cedric Mullins, same number, 1.5, is plus 105. Love that against KC today. Garrett Cole's strikeout numbers are 7.5. It's a high number at Minnesota, but it's minus 112. I'm willing to take the over there. And Dylan Bundy on DK is just 3.5 on the Ks. I think he can get the 4. That's minus 155. So the juice is a lot, but I kind of like that one. Welsh, what peeped to you in the prop market today?
Yeah, I hate those big ones. I mean, I did it yesterday with Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola was freaking phenomenal, but he just didn't get to that strikeout number. And I did hit the under on Gonsolin strikeouts. But I hate those really, really big ones. And that is almost like reiteration why I don't want to do it. The 2 that I like, Tyler Anderson, strikeouts at 4.5. He's hit that in 6 straight weeks. And what I found interesting about him as well, where he's being like Tony Gonsolin light, he does not qualify from a innings pitch qualification standpoint on Fangraphs, but if he did, his 14.5 swinging strike percentage would be 7th in baseball, and his 30% CSW would get him inside the top 11. So if you want to talk about the type of strikeout pitcher he's going up. Matchup isn't the greatest for him, but it's still something I'm gonna take. It's a pretty easy number. Like I said, he hit it 6 straight weeks. The other one, and this is clockwork for me, I always bet Shane McClanahan, even if it doesn't hit. I think at the end of the year, if you just bet every K prop, you will come out on top. It is at 6.5, and he's hit it 5 straight games. He's against the White Sox, though. But or no, he had 8 against the White Sox. He was going up against the Cardinals. And the reason I marked that is those are two very similar teams in the level that they do not strike out. So Shane McClanahan, Tyler Anderson, both Ks over.
All right, real quick, it's a short DFS slate tonight, so we won't spend too much time. Max Fried against the Pirates is my lock, especially on DK 9.5. Nick Pivetta has been really good these last few starts. I know it's like trolling the Angels, but you know what?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many games they can lose in a row. They got Ohtani on the mound tonight. I guess I would say this: play Max Fried and Pivetta together in cash, and play Max Fried and Shohei Ohtani, who's 8.1 and Pavetta's 8.4 in tournaments. And just fade Garrett Cole because he'll be very chalky and everybody will be on Garrett Cole tonight. But I would go with Fried and go with Pivetta. That's kind of my preference tonight. Welsh, who is your home run call for this evening, my friend?
I will take it to the courts and I will let the judge decide. Aaron Judge, give me bombs.
I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna tonight. Mike Mayer, of course, going with Ryan Mountcastle. God, my God. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, if there is a fan club for Ryan Mountcastle, not only is Mike Mayer the president, he is the only member. It's pretty unbelievable. Like, did he grow up with him? Is this like a friend of his from high school or something?
Did he tweet at Mayer? Did Mayer like tweeted him one time? And Mountcastle was like, "Hey, good job, buddy," and he's like, "This is my."
And then it's forever since.
Yeah.
You know what he didn't do?
Friend.
He didn't throw a ball into the crowd at Mike Mayer. That's for sure. That definitely did not happen. Now I wonder if a ball from Ryan Mountcastle got tossed into the crowd where Mike Mayer is, does Mike Mayer throw that ball back? Does he give it to a kid?
It's like a bear in the woods.
Keep it himself?
If a ball goes to Mike Mayer, does it exist anymore? Can it ever be a ball?
But this feels like the next season of Stranger Things. Before we get too creeped out here, we're going to end the show. Hope you had a good time, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy Bros MLB channel. We got a new buy low, sell high video out. And of course, the waiver wire video should be out any moment now, sometime in the next 24 hours. So look for that. So subscribe and click that bell for notifications. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.